And welcome to DNQ Football. We're trying out a whole new thing today, so you can see both of our names there, and you'll be looking forward to some ultra high tech video stuff going on as we run through how it works for AFC Asian Football Confederation World Cup qualification for the 2026 expanded World Cup. Firstly, Ryan, let's talk about the slots, the amount of slots that AFC gets. So it used to get the places in the World Cup. They used to get 4.5.
They did.
They now get a whopping 8.5.
It's huge. It's a lot of slots.
It is a lot of slots. It's, I mean, so the tournament itself has expanded. It's got an additional 50% of teams. It's gone from 32 to 48, so 16 more teams. And what we've seen already, we've already done a video on Africa. We're doing this video on Asia now as well. Actually, what it's doing is it's kind of evening up the ratio of it, because Europe used to get a ridiculous proportion of the slots. Now, I appreciate it's only European and South American teams that have ever won the tournament. But still, I think that this, if you look at it, and I'm sure we'll pass judgment as we do lots of other videos on it, there are at least 5 or 6 really decent Asian sides now. Japan dethroning the German manager very recently and things like that. How do you feel about 8.5 places? Do you think it's about right?
I think it is about right. Yeah. You've thrown me a question there. I wasn't expecting that. That's I actually think it might be a place too many, if I'm being a little bit controversial. I don't know where that place then would sit, basically, in the revamped format, because there are this region and the teams from this region are definitely at a higher level, and there are more teams that are performing at the higher. You just look back to the 2022 World Cup and Saudi Arabia, and they beat Argentina, who went on to win the whole tournament. So there is quality there. 8.5 is, and it feels like you can have potentially 9 teams from this region, which is a lot, right? Which is a lot. I mean, at the last World Cup, as we're going to touch on the changes to the format, the last World Cup, mate, actually had 6 already, because Qatar as the host, and then Australia beat Peru in that inter-confed spot, so that the 4.5 spots turned into 5. So they had 6 there already. So, and I think it will be very, very interesting. We're not going to dissect about individual teams too much across this video. We're more talking about the format, but I am going to very quickly do that. Qatar at the World Cup. Hey, and I'm not saying that they would qualify, and we will see that across this qualification as it goes through. But there was a drop-off in quality there, I think, in my opinion, and they got found out on that big stage. And potentially having 9 teams from this region, is there going to be that drop-off? We shall see. We're not here to talk about that. We've talked about the slots, of course. It's a massive increase. Let's talk about the format, because this is potentially one of the most complex and multi-layered. It's like an onion, this, mate. You're peeling back. You're peeling back. There's so many layers. It's another round and another round and another round. It's quite confusing. Shall we talk through how it works?
Let's do it. Let's get into it. And before you feel the hate comments coming in about your claim that it's a place too many, I don't disagree with you. I think there's only 14. Don't quote me on this. Currently, I think if you looked at the World Cup, and this is not how it works, but if that's going to be the 48 best teams in the world, I think there's only 3, maybe 4 Asian sides inside the top sort of 50. There is also a big drop-off in quality outside of pot 1, as it were called. But hopefully we get some competitive qualification, and it starts with the best round from a DNQ perspective. We're going to be doing a whole video on this that's going to come out either later this week or across this weekend as well on round 1. Let's get straight into it. Round 1, how it works. These are the visuals I was warning you about. My goodness, they only get better from here.
I'm loving the shields.
Well, I played around with so many different badges. It actually took ages to do this.
It looks good, mate. This looks really cool.
Well, you know what I thought about as well? I was going to do the teams in like the color of the actual team.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Um,
A lot of
and
effort,
it
right?
is. And also, a
Yeah.
lot of people are colorblind. So if I put Afghanistan in a sort of burgundy and then the Maldives in their away green, I'm not sure it would have even had that much of an effect. Anyway, this is round one. As you can count, there are 10 fixtures between the 20 lowest ranked Asian sides.
Yes.
We'll be doing a whole round one preview on this. There is a home and an away fixture.
Yep.
The winner goes through to round two. Ryan, this is the easiest of the rounds to speak about.
It is. This is completely straightforward. You've got the lowest 20 ranked teams, as you've spoken about. They have been drawn. So those lowest 20 ranked teams were split into two pots. The higher 10 of the 20 were in pot one, and the lowest 10 ranked AFC teams were in the other, drawn against each other, two legs. The winner goes through to round two. So you've then got 10 round one winners joining the remaining 26 teams from the AFC region into round two.
Into round two. And round two, we move on to as well. Again, this one, not horrifically complicated. There are 9 groups of
Yes, there are.
4, so the 36 teams, beautifully laid out there on that page, as you can see. And again, this one, round two, you're probably thinking, what are we talking about? This onion, this confusing onion. This, again, is a very simple round. And it's worth noting, we are not going to get into the details of qualification for the AFC Asian Cup 2027, but they are factored into this as well.
Yes.
And all I'm going to go into on this video is that the winners of round two, so the top 2 sides in each group, they progress to round 3 of World Cup qualification, and they automatically qualify for the AFC Asian Cup 2027.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into all the other stuff. That's a separate video.
Let's not digress.
This one, again, Ryan, and these groups have been drawn with the exclusion of the round one teams that are going to go into them. Again, that will be part of our round one preview that will be coming up. So we won't get into it too much. This is cut and dry, I should say. 36 teams down to 18 teams.
Yeah,
straightforward, right?
Absolutely, mate. You've nailed that. Let's go straight into round 3, where the top 2, as you've already said, the top 2 in each of the groups in round 2 are going into round 3. So we've got those 18 remaining teams, and they are now split into 3 groups of 6 that you've got deliciously displayed in front of us. We have home and away ties as part of this round. The top 2 teams in each qualify for the World Cup. So, as Tom has got it right in front of you, you are then, from round 3, you will have 6 of the 8.5 slots taken up by teams that would have qualified. The teams, as Tom has really nicely added here, the teams that finished 3rd and 4th in the groups in round 3, they go through to round 4, Tom.
Round 4. And I can't help but feel like these visuals won't be required for other parts of the world. But this is such a confusing system in many ways, because after round 1, you have 36 teams. 36 is a very divisible number, as you've seen by the 9 groups of 4. And then they throw out the whole logic, the whole fact that you could put this into 4 groups, and they just go with 3 groups of 6, and 6 of them qualify from this round so that they can add in another round. And if you're thinking, okay, yeah, we get it, you don't need to moan about the fact that there is a round 4. It's not just round 4 that's coming up, as I will demonstrate for you now. Round 4 and 5. The teams that came 3rd and 4th in round 3 are into round 4. There's 6 of them, and now they're in 2 groups of 3. The winners are the other 2 teams added to the previous 6 that qualify for the World Cup directly. There are your 8 teams. The 2 teams that come second in round 4 go into the Interconfed playoff.
Yeah.
So not the Interconfed playoffs themselves between all different regions, but this round 5. The Shields are back for round 5, where the 2 teams that come second in the groups in round 4 will go head to head with each other for the 0.5 place. Did I articulate that well?
You absolutely nailed that, my friend. Yep. It's a playoff before the playoff.
It is.
And thus the winner of round 5 then goes through to said Interconfed playoff to fight for that 0.5 of a spot.
So, an opinion I'm going to chuck out now before we wrap up this video. And we're giving you all the different views.
I've enjoyed this. I've watched this. I've been spun around this whole screen.
Yeah, sorry, it's probably making me a bit sick. The last thing I'll say, and look, this is important. Is there a case to say that the team that loses round 5 from Asia is the most heartbreaking journey?
It's the longest. Well, no, because the team, if they get through to the Interconfed playoff and lose, that's
then lose. That's a whole other stage.
That's a whole other stage. That's even more travel. It's a long journey.
True.
Do you know what? My final point on this, mate, actually is if you were to do if we flash the time back when the glory days of FIFA, when they used to do proper World Cup video games, and you could do the whole World Cup campaign. We used to always pick CONCACAF because you could play so many fixtures. And Asia, oh my goodness, there is so many games to be played, which is quite nice, really, from a point of it feels like a real journey to reach the World Cup, which I think is great, because the World Cup is this crescendo of everyone that has fought their way through the qualification to get there. And I feel that within the AFC region, you do get that here, mate. You get that journey and you get that crescendo of being there at the World Cup, the biggest competition on the planet.
Yeah, I think that whilst we suggested maybe 8.5 is a lot of places for Asia as a region, obviously there's loads of teams participating in qualification. And one thing that they have done well is you can't say that the teams that get there don't deserve to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah, I couldn't agree
and
more.
what we do also have is there are some strong sides in round 1, as we'll cover in our next video. And actually, there's probably some sides in round 1 that might make it to round 3, and that is a lot of games that those sides will be playing, and that's absolutely fantastic for some of the nations ranked sort of 140 and lower.
Yeah,
that's be absolutely huge for them to play, because so now we still have the issue of the lowest ranked teams will go out after 2 games and play 2 games in World Cup qualification, but we're getting slightly better. And I whilst it's a confusing format, it's a format that hopefully will see lots of the smaller teams get a good opportunity to play some high quality games.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. And if you've watched this video and you've made it this far and you haven't had to leave and vomit because you've been thrown around like on a roller coaster, what do you think of this new revised format? What do you think of the 8.5 teams? Do you think it's too many? Do you think it will dilute the quality, or do AFC have enough strong representatives to showcase themselves to a good standard at the World Cup? Do drop a like on this video, and as Tom always says, we will see you next time.